Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the third and final part on my discussion on the Neverending Story. In part one, I talked about the first half of the book, which is notoriously well known to be adapted into the well-known movie. And part two, I focused on the second half of the book, which wasn't adapted into the movie, which was quite upsetting. It was really disappointing that they didn't fully go down that route, which in this third and final part on this never-ending journey, I will be talking about the many adaptations of Michael Ende's book. So before I go any further, I just want to say as well that I did buddy read the Neverending Story with Bad from Bad is Red 2. I will have her one video linked down below, so I would really appreciate it if you would go over there, give it a watch, give it a like, give her a subscribe as well while you're over there. But I just wanted to make a series of videos because I think it's impossible for me to talk about this book and do it justice. So as I said, the subject of this video is going to be the adaptations of Michael's book. Now there has been many adaptations on a wide variety of platforms. Now as a whole, the book is a love story to both readers and books in general. So how can you take that is about one medium and put it into a completely different medium and have the same feel? So the book in German, because it originally was written by a German author, was released in 1979 and the English translation was released in 1983. There are many music adaptations and inspirations from the Neverending Story. First one, the album Wooden Heart by the band Listener was inspired by the book, and I believe the art style that was on the cover of the album was inspired by the story as well. The Spanish rock bands, which I could try to pronounce their name, but I'll probably butcher it. I'll have the name of that band on the screen. So this band was inspired to create their name because they were inspired by the turtle in the Neverending Story called Mauler. And also the Spanish boy bands, Orin, obviously got their inspiration from the Orin necklace. There was a metal band called Atreyu. I couldn't really find out more about that. The band called Baysides had a song called They Look Like Strong Hands, which was what the rock biter in the book is called the rock chewer, but in the movie he's called the rock biter. That's what he says to Atreyu at the end of the movie. And for those of you who were curious, that scene wasn't in the book. The hip-hop artist Homeboy Sandman referenced Atreyu and Valcor in a song called Far Out. And obviously you have the original soundtrack, which, to be honest with yourself, you probably had that song in your mind throughout all these videos, or at least this video, so everyone knows what the original soundtrack for the Neverending Story is. There was also some stage adaptations and video game adaptations of the Neverending Story. Not many, but one or two I think there is. So the movies, this is what we all came to know and love with the first movie, which came out in 1984. Now this, as I just mentioned at the start of this video, the movie only focuses on the first half of the physical book. So well, when I saw the movie as a kid, I really enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I loved how dark and atmospheric it was. The acting was really good, even though some of it was kind of hit and miss, but it was part of the charm, and it was a really excellent movie. It's only after I read the book that I realised that this movie could have been so much better, and I suppose that's what got Michael so frustrated, because he absolutely hated this movie, as he felt that it dumbed down the story, and they completely changed everything, and it might as well have been called something completely different. I kind of disagree with Michael on that one. The movie and the first half of the book are very, very similar. But as I described in part one, I believe it is, just imagine if the plot um, of the first half of the book was written on a bunch of pieces of paper with a ink pen. It got left outside. It rained overnight. It was windy. Half the pages got blown away and got lost, in time and space, and half the words got washed out, in the rain. Then the very next morning, it was found, photocopied 1,000 times, and that was the script for the movie. The movie is still good. I still enjoy the movie. But the movie was very simplified. It was kind of made more appropriate for children. It was made more uh, child friendly and child appropriate, I guess, so they could like get a lower rating, so more people would be able to watch it. And that's all well and good, but you have dark scenes in it, which with Mauler, you have Gamork, the giant wolf, and you also notoriously have the death of Artax. But the story kind of glosses over the fact that Atreyu should be pale green in his skin tone and also have blue hair. And also, Artax speaks, and more importantly, in my opinion, the main character should have been an overweight actor that wasn't very attractive to look at. I guess they went for a different direction. I don't know, because no one wants to see a fat, ugly main character in their movie. Really, we're supposed to root for this kid. But the movie dumbed it down quite a bit. It's still a good movie. I still enjoy it. Some scenes are completely cut out. There are loads of sequences that are removed or changed completely. But yeah, the movie should have been darker. I think that if they should make a adaptation of this movie, or of this book rather, in a movie form, which I don't really think it's even possible. I suppose if they did a Lord of the Rings or Hobbit with it, where they made several movies that are several hours long, but with that out of the way, I think this would be best as a TV series. But if they do one, then I really hope that they obviously cut some stuff out from the movie, but try to be as faithful as it possibly can to the book. And that means having it completely dark and doing exactly what the book does. And even, yes, having the horse talk and having Atreyu's skin color green and hair blue. Yes, it will look stupid, but if you're going to do it, you might as well do it, and you might as well do it properly. If they aren't going to adapt this book and be faithful to it, then what's the point in doing it and trying to make an attempt of it in the first place? In the second movie, which came out in 1990, I believe they tried to adapt the second half of the book, but it was very, very, very loosely. Yes, the concept of Bastian having all these wishes so it can rebuild Fantasia. Yes, I'm talking about the adaptations. I'm going to be calling this world Fantasia rather than Fantastica, which it was in the book. And having him be slightly evil at the end and menacing at the end. I mean, the actor did his best, but it was really bumbling, and it wasn't. I suppose I can't really blame the actor for playing Bastian. I think it's more the plot and the script of this movie. I mean, I do wish that movies for children, when they're being made, I think that there's kind of that fear that saying, oh well, we actually can't cross this line. This line we cannot cross. We cannot make it dark and creepy because kids won't see it. Kids will be afraid of it, and we'll get loads of complaints from parents, and um, it won't be well received. I mean, you have movies like Return to Oz, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, movies that debatably the main audience when they originally came out was for small children. I mean, I watched the Return to Oz movie when I was small. Hasn't affected me too much. And also in kids' books, especially horror-based ones, can be very, very dark and edgy and pushing the boundaries. So I think that kids want to have this sort of like dark and edgy movies rather than these safe, yeah, fairy tale movies that everyone lives happily ever after. Just rather than having a character who starts off being good, turns evil, and then at the end of the story realizes how much of an asshole he has been, and what of a douche he's been throughout the story, and then redeeming himself at the end and turning back into a good person. In the second movie, we were included, or they did have characters in the in the second half of the book, the witch or the sorcerer, and there was also a glass belt that turned Bastion invisible. That was in the book. There was also a city where it was surrounded by acid in the book that is explained, but it isn't acid in the book, it is tears because it's made from all these creatures from this world that think that they are so ugly. They are constantly crying, and this is what creates this river. It's not made of acid, it's made of tears. I suppose my biggest complaint for the second movie is that at the start of the movie, Bastion is in his real world. But in the book, Bastion gets transported into Fantasia. He stays there, and then at the end, he does get back to his real world. There's never that like break halfway in between where he goes to and fro from his world. At the end of the second half of the book, he has a mission to rebuild this broken down world, so he stays in this fantasy world. He doesn't go back home and pierce a sandwich and hold it up against, over his head and have a awkward conversation with his dad about a jumper that has all these holes in it. But the second movie was fine. It's a movie which you can watch when it's raining and you have nothing else to do. But the third movie, which was released in 1994, did its whole unique storyline. Nothing much in the third movie is kind of referenced in the book. The only thing I can think of, and please comment down below if I've missed any references in these movies, I probably have, is in the book. It does describe these tree-like creatures, kind of like Ents from Lord of the Rings, and that's where they were introduced in the third movie. So that's that. There is no essence called the Nasty or anything like that. The third movie was okay. Bastion's in school. Let's be honest. The reason why this movie's somewhat decent is because it's got Jack Black in it, and he goes real batshit insane in this movie. He goes real crazy, and he goes all in with this character, and I think that's because he knew that this movie was not going to be very well received and not going to be very good. So we just thought, well, what the hell, I might as well have fun with it. And he does have fun with the character, and he's very entertaining to watch in this movie. And if he wasn't in it, this movie would probably be forgotten as, yeah, we've got the Neverending Story 1, we've got 2, and yeah, we've also got 3. I nearly forgot about it. But Jack Black makes it more memorable I guess the characters' designs were really um, changed dramatically. Valcor and the Rockbiter, um, Bastion is okay. He goes back to Earth. I do wish they would follow this book properly, because going back to what I said at the start, I mean, you should. I mean, these film companies shouldn't be afraid to like push boundaries with children's movies and children's media. I mean, you take the Goosebumps books; they are made for little kids, but they are um, real scary. And you would think, oh no, we can't put that in a child's book. That would frighten them too much. We've got to like wrap them all in bubble wrap and protect them from the world. Um, yeah. Um, so that is the three movies. We do have a couple of TV series. One which is the animated series, which I've seen clips of, but I haven't watched it in its entirety. I haven't seen a full episode, but I've seen clips. This is the only adaptation where Atreyu is green and he has blue hair. As far as I could tell with what I've seen of it, it doesn't follow the book at all. It's set in Fantastica, but it's going on its own separate adventures and doing its own thing within that world, kind of like a spin-off or an extension of the book. And it does have the tree creature, which is a main character. I have no desire whatsoever to watch the TV series. If I find it really cheap, then I might give it a chance and give it a watch. Or if I can watch it online, I will. But I'm in no mad rush to do so. It looks rubbish. While I was reading the book as well, I came across a TV series called Tales from the Neverending Story, which I found it's in its entirety on YouTube, which was a free thing. And it was over 6 hours long, so I thought, great, they are finally going to do the book justice. Yay! They are finally going to do it right this time. They're going to say, right, we've made mistakes, but we are going to correct that. Also, I forgot to mention the animated series was released in 1995, but the Tales from the Neverending Story was released in 2000 to 2002. This one tells the story of how Bastion got the book, went into Fantasia. It's not like the movie at all, guys. It has, I mean, the actor that plays Bastion is more like visually better than what he should have been in the book. That is what Bastion should be like. My only complaint is that in the TV series he has friends, but in the book he doesn't have any friends. But I suppose you can't really have a loner kid being our main character. You know, I don't know. But when it gets into Fantasia, I'm not even sure. I mean, yeah, the nothing is in it. I nearly forgot. But it's in this jar, which the main villain, this female sorceress, like takes off the lid, and it like this gas escapes from the bottle, and goes around its victim. And what it does, it leaves them as a kind of a zombie, and that reduces them to be a slave or a workforce or whatever. Yeah, I'm thinking that's not the nothing. That really isn't the nothing. Gamork is in this as well. He's less of a giant wolf. He is. I mean, they do get a real life dog to play him in his dog form, but in the majority of it, he is in his human form. Pretty sure in the book he is a shapeshifter that can go to and from worlds. So yay for that, I guess. Atreyu in this adaptation is played by portrayed as a American Indian character, like he was in the movies and every other single bloody adaptation of this. But they have tried to have hints of his appearance in the book. where he has, if you look closely at his face, he has these very slight green marks on his face, and in his hair, even though it's, I believe, black dreadlocks, there is blue within his hair. So yay for that, I guess, as well. He is a real good actor in this. He he gives it his all, and he's really good in it. I've got no complaints with him whatsoever. Valcor, oh my god. Now Valcor in this adaptation has been kidnapped by the evil sorceress and been held against his will. And I believe he doesn't talk whatsoever. He's completely CG, so he looks rubbish. But throughout the whole adaptation, there's this character called Fly Girl. Pretty sure she has a name, but I can't be bothered to remember it. But she has created, or her and her grandfather has created, this kind of flying machine that looks like a luck dragon and Falcor to fly around Fantastica, or Fantasia rather, and to like give hope to people that the luck dragon's still around, while at the same time looking for Falcor. So the TV series kind of does its own thing, but it's kind of a branch off to it. It starts off with the mother being still alive for one thing. I was thinking, why is the mother still alive? The mother was, yes, an important part of Bastion's character, but she died. But she starts off the movie being dead. So why is she still alive in the book? In the TV series rather. Bastion never go. I'm pretty sure never gets to physically go to Fantasia. He reads about it. He's always obsessed with the book. Pretty sure he doesn't have any wishes or anything like that. But the Orion is heavily implied to grant wishes. So nudge, nudge. I guess to the plot. He's in his school environment and his real world while reading the book, and he's the narrator for this, as well. It does have characters that were at the end of, or the second half of the book. It does have the enchanted sword, which was nice. But as I said, the TV series does its own thing. It does have its own unique charm. There is something both frustrating that they didn't fully commit to this story, which is a great story that is real appropriate for children to watch, and they should watch and be able to read this story. But at the same time, it does have that charm where it's doing its own thing. But at the same time, you're like thinking, well, why couldn't they just adaptate the book? Yeah, but I enjoyed it. It was fine for what it was. So, guys, that's been the some of the adaptations of the Neverending Story. Thank you for watching this video, and if you haven't, go back and watch part 1 and part 2. But thank you for watching this video and watching my other videos as always. Let me know, have you read the Neverending Story book? Have you watched these movies and TV series or listened to any of these songs? Yeah, and let's talk about anything and everything Neverending Story. It's been a real journey reading this book and experiencing it in all its glory, and I can't wait to reread it again. And lastly, don't forget to check out Bad's video. It will be linked down below. So yeah, don't forget to check that out. So yeah, with all that out of the way, I'll see you on my next video, guys.